Hey, hello everyone. Welcome back to Code with Wish. Today we will be covering high order components in React. So basically what are high order components? We will be going through that. Then we will be understanding how it operates and what is the use of high order component. And in the last, we will be doing it in a practical way. So let's start it. So what is high order component first of all? So the official definition of high order component is a high-order component (HOC) is an advanced technique in React for reusing the component logic. So first thing here, I want to tell you that this isn't a part of React API. Yes. So high-order component is a type of pattern which is being used or followed to gain the reusability of the component. It isn't the part of React API, right? Now, how does it operate or how does it work? So high order component basically is a function which takes a component, we fill with some other functions or properties to it, and then that high order component or that high order function return back us a new component with those additional properties. So over here we can see there is a component which is being passed in the high order component, and then we get a new component with certain additional properties that is being added into it. Even in practical time right now you are using certain high order components. Suppose if you are using React, then React has a method that is connect. So basically what connect does, it takes your component, whatever you are exporting, it connect it with the Redux reducer and the store, and return back as a new component with those functionalities and with those properties. So Redux Connect is a good example which we are already using practically as a high order component. So let's start a practical approach and see how we can create our own high order component and get this thing done more practically. So over here, we close my XD, right? So over here we are having a React project directly. I will be giving the link to the repository in the description. So here we are having a simple component that is a high order container which is having a div one h1, and then we are exporting it and it is appearing like this. Now we will be wrapping this with our new created high order component, and then we will be using it. So let's create a folder for HOCs. I think it is already existing. Fine. We are having a folder with HOC. So what are this HOC will do? So let's suppose this HOC should log us the properties that we are passing, and it should change the color of our D. So let's get it color with logger. So that is the name of our. So this is basically a general function that we will be having. Index.jsx. So we will be importing React. Let's create a function. So with logger, what this will be accepting, what we are expecting over here is a component. So we'll be adding wrap component. So this is what we are expecting. We are expecting a component with our logger, right? Now over here, what we will be doing is we will be creating one more function. So suppose we want to add certain properties to it. So let's add a properties function which will be accepting all the arguments that is being passed in our component, right? And what it will be doing, its work is very simple. It will be returning the component that we have received. So let's suppose this, and let's add a component over here, the wrapped component with the arguments that we are getting. So till now there is nothing as a rocket science we have just created one more component function which accepts a component and then it returns it with certain properties into it, right? And from here we will be returning the properties with our logger. Now what we have to do is we have to export default with logger. Now let's understand what this code does is. We have a function with logger which accepts one component, right? Now what we are doing is, now with this particular component we are adding a diff into it and we are again returning the same component that we have, plus if there are certain arguments that has been passed that we are applying again into the wrapped component, right? Now suppose we want to add a padding to our wrap component or the component which is coming. So what we can do is we can add this additional functionality over here. So let's add certain padding. Suppose there should be a 15 rem of padding, plus we want a background color to be added into our place just for now. So let's add a background color, suppose ff5, that's a yellowish color, right? And then what we can do is we are basically creating a logger. So what we'll add console log arg. So all the arguments that is being passed will be logged with our component. Now let's connect this HOC into our page. We'll be going into our page, we'll be importing it. So this is being imported from the HOC that we have. Fair enough. You don't need that index as well, but that's my habit to add it. Now what we can do is we can wrap our component around the HOC container, just like this. Let's save this and let's see what happens. Oh, we are getting an error. Okay, ARG is not defined. So basically we haven't defined our argument. So yes, that's a problem over here. I have added these three lines over here. That won't be fine. Now I believe it will work. And let's refresh the page. Oh, it's again saying ARG is not defined. That is strange. It's giving the error at 5 to 21. So that's the 5 and this is the 21. So over here it's giving, oh my bad, it should be ARGS and I'm adding ARG. That is wrong. So let's do it back and let's see this. The only thing that was affecting was ARGS and I have added ARG. So let's save it now. We'll see, refresh it, and we get this over here. Now you can see over here that with this particular component we haven't added any logger or anything. What we have done is we have wrapped it with our with logger. Now when we go into with logger, it takes the component. So our HOC page container is the component. This is a component, right? So this component is being passed in our with logger. Now let's see what happens now. Now over here we have got that with logger. In this with logger we have got our HOC component. Now that HOC component is being passed again over here in this written. Plus we have added this padding and background color to it. Also all the arguments that are being passed in our HOC component has been logged over here using the property slash args, right? So all the arguments have been logged. We have also added certain padding and background color to our application component to make it the heart. So as the definition says, oh, I think it is stuck. So what our definitions say that the HOC takes a component and then return back a new component. This is exactly what is happening over here. It takes the HOC component, it will create a properties into it, we log this, and then we are returning a new component with new properties into it. So we can see that on our page with those. Also, what we can do is we can add another property. Like if you want something, suppose we want to add a color property over here, then we don't want to stick with the single color. So what we can do is we can add a color property directly into it, and then we can add the same thing over here rather than adding that. So now it is more customizable. These are all things that you can get it or you can do by yourself as well. So when we save it and see, we are getting the same thing over here. So this is how basically high order component work, and this is our first high order component. I think you like this video. Please like it. Please add certain comments, your question into the video. Please like and subscribe. It motivates a lot to add new things. Thank you.